I became governor in 2006, was impeached end of 2006, came back. One of my greatest supporters today is one of my good supporters, the next president of Nigeria. One of the reasons why he's supporting me is that when they said I should give people money for me not to be impeached, I said, no, I can't pay people for doing the wrong thing. I would rather go. But I came back. So, for me, the measure, they started MDG in 2000, but after my impeachment, I came back in 2007, started implementing MDG. By the time Nigeria ended MDG in 2015, Anambra State was #1. The person in charge of pulling people out of poverty in Nigeria is a man called Dr. Magnus Pakol. Go and ask him. I have a certificate for being #1. He's still alive. Go to Ministry of Department of Statistics. I was the first governor to do statistical record of poverty. I won a prize from Federal Ministry of Works for having the best road network. You can go to people in Anambra State. I was #1 when I started. We were number 26 and 27 in Wayaka and Neko. By the time I left, we were #1. I won the Gate Prize for Health. I can go on and say this is what we achieved. But I said the overall measure is MDG. I was #1. The people who were doing it then was Amina, who is now in United Nations. I was even invited to United Nations to share my experience. And so many things I'm for. And collectively, the day I left office, I was not owing any contractor who have executed his job. And these are not owing for any job that a contract we awarded. But you can only pay when job is executed. I'm not owing any contractor who have executed his job. I'm not owing any supplier who have supplied anything. I'm not owing one. Examples are people like Innocent, Xerox Computer. I paid Xerox. We bought the highest amount of computer ever bought by a government in Africa. They are there. HP will tell you the same thing. I paid them 6 months up front before they supplied it to our schools. I paid Innocent 1 year before I delivered any car. You can go, this is and it's on tape, so you can go and verify all this. Above this, I decided from day one that we must have a savings as a state. And we must save at least 10% of my total receipts by the time I will leave government. Total money I received while I was governor, Anambra State received, whether it's local government, whether it's state, whether it's our local revenue, IGR, everything was about 500 and something billion naira. Out of which they are left office, we had in savings 75 billion naira. And this is how the money was shared, so that you know which one is mentioned. Only one that is bad. The money we saved is A. We saved in dollar. In 3 banks in Nigeria, some of you are working in those banks. Access Bank, Diamond Bank, and Fidelity Bank. In each of these banks, I had a saving of $50 million. Dollars, I didn't say naira. And they were invested at least interest of 6.5%. If you calculate it today, as at that time, it was equivalent of 25 billion. Because there were 150 something, 160. If you calculate today with interest, it's about 250, at least $250 million. These 3 banks are there. I have in each of these banks, again invested at least $30 billion. 10 billion naira in 3 of them, making it 30 billion. At an average interest, call it even 10%. If you calculate it, that money today would have been about 60 billion. Remember, what I left is 75 as I calculated then. So then the third one is investment I did in various companies. NIPP, we have $59 million in it. The one that they're saying is worthless is that we invested 3.5. International Breweries is what you can call a global company. It's a part of AB InBev, which is the biggest brewer in the whole world. We had a policy while I was governor that any factory, anybody who wants to, foreign investor who wants to invest in Anambra State, we will buy 10% of the company, and under the condition that we will sign an agreement with him that he will give Anambra people work to the minimum of not less than 40% of the workers. They built a facility in Anambra State. That facility is there today, employing directly and indirectly over 10,000 Anambrarians. They have been one of the highest revenue source for the state. Even some of their waste, the biggest piggery we have in Anambra State, collects waste from them. There's so many things that company have done in terms of helping the state, transporters, this, that, and everything. The shares was at a time being sold at 50 naira. Today the shares is about 5 naira or so, and then maybe that was what was referred. But in overall of what I left is less than 5%.
Okay.
That particular investment is less than 5%. So if you calculate what I left 75 billion. If you go and sell the dollars today, even at 600, is 150 billion. Plus 60 billion of the naira is 210 billion. Even if that one is wasted, 3 times what I invested, the company is still doing well. It's still part of a global chain and everything. I needed to explain it, not because I'm defending comment by my brother. My brother is the brother. I remain my brother. We're very close. I remain prayerful for him. For other things which I didn't succeed, God has given him opportunity to do it and succeed. For me, yes. So if there's anything pending, governance you don't finish. People are still in government in America. So you stop where you stop, other people will continue from there. I don't look back. He's the governor of my state. I'll always, he's my senior brother. He's even more intelligent because he's a professor. I'm a trader. So he knows more. So he will be able to do things better than I'm doing it. You know, I've done my little own as a trader. Now the professor is there. He will do his own as a professor. The schools that didn't roof, he will roof them. That's how government goes. Another person comes, do his own. But let us think about, finally, like I tell you people, for those of you who are, just please get involved. All of us are going to tell you a good story. All of us are going to say the same thing there. But it's who can we trust?